Hello, welcome to this Calm Club loosening video on freedom by grounding. So finding the ground here first under our feet and our seat, curling into a fetal position to let the head drop into place of safety. So we can start then to open up the knees, rocking a little side to side. So start to come to the outside of one leg whilst the other foot find its grounding. And you can help that by placing your hand onto the foot to eventually stepping the foot over the other to start to transfer the weight forward. Taking that into a twisting motion around. So we're changing our relationship with the ground here. And then coming right forward onto one foot so that we can rock backwards and forwards onto the top of the back foot. Constantly changing and exploring our relationship with the ground. And here massaging out some tension. Where we commonly find it in fronts of the feet. Bringing the hands forward now, we can bring a spine undulation where we exhale to round the back, inhale to open through the front body. Following that just behind your breath, so the inhale opens across the collarbones without pushing the chin forward. Exhale, it opens the area between the shoulder blades. And you can feel in this undulation where the hips aren't symmetrical, that there's many different movements of the spine. Taking that over to the other side, shifting to really find your grounding again. And all of these points you meet the ground. To start that shifting forward and back onto top of the back foot. Breathing with any sensations you feel there, with soft eyes, jaw released. And settling into hands planted. Got all these 4 points to the ground to explore that movement, opening the front of the spine with the inhalation, back of the spine with the exhalation. Retaining space in the back and sides of the neck as you inhale. And feeling how the tailbone moves side to side, even through that forward and back motion of the spine here. Asymmetry in the hips, making things a little more interesting. And coming back to feet together at the center. Settling there, curling in a little to soften the forehead. Bringing the breath back to the center line. And coming onto your knees. Settle yourself on everywhere you meet the ground. A little movement side to side to shift your weight and increase your sensory feedback to the ground before stepping one foot out, just onto the ball of the foot, so you're free to move in any direction at all through the foot and the hip, and that can shift and change. Knee might bend, leg might rotate in or out. You can come up or down onto the hands. Shift from the heel to the ball of the foot. There's really no right or wrong here. It's just feeling out anything feels helpful through the hips and the shoulders before settling into that foot planted about parallel, and opening the same arm as the foot on the ground. Exhale to bring that all the way down to the ground, palm up to a twist. Inhale, turn the belly and the chest to lift up. Exhale, you can come down to wherever is comfortable. And as you exhale, sink down, letting the elbow of the hand on the ground bend. There's a real playful attitude, freedom to the movement from ability, that grounded arm to move and respond as you do. And settling to open out, gathering up through the instep, foot on the ground to feel channel up through the inner leg, activate. Coming back to all fours, have a little rocking here to re-establish. Or taking other leg out to the side. Exploring here. So again, any movement pattern, it does not need to follow the same path as the other side. So you're really responding, self-regulating, moment to moment. Sense of following in what's calling to the body. So no agenda, no plan. Just breathing fully to feel that freedom to move as you need. Settling that foot down, gathering up the instep, lifting all the way up with the same arm as the foot. Exhale all the way down and sink. So the inhale revolves you up from the belly and the chest. And the exhale lets you drop down into arm as it bends. Revolving the neck with the spine, so it's not the chin or the head is leading, but the whole of the spine rotating, so the head settles simply where it's appropriate. So eventually you do settle with the top arm up. You can bring the chin in line with the breastbone or simply as turned as much as feels easily comfortable. And coming back into center. We'll come back to all fours. You can sink down here. Child pose with an exhalation. Inhale back up through the front spine. A few more of those to establish this breath and movement before reaching all the way up with the arms to open out through the chest. Exhale to sink back and curl the arms around the head. So different undulation now where we inhale up off the ground. Exhale, come down just as far as your knees are comfortable. Really feel the motion guided by the breath. So the arms, particularly as they exhale and curl in, come to where feels intuitively comfortable for the shoulders. And a sense of safety curling into the front body. The inhale opens the arms naturally through the collarbones as the shoulders settle on top of the ribs. And coming back down to all fours, come back into down face dog with the heels lifted to find ease, to find space between pubic bone and the breastbone. Or dropping down onto your knees, bringing a bolster or a lift of about the same height, like a stack of neatly folded blankets. A lift for under your head, so it can be like I have here with a couple of blocks and a blanket on top. That lift at the end of the bolster, a little lower than the bolster, so that you, when you come down onto it, firstly bringing the pubic bone just onto the front and coming up into a supported back arch. Hands a little forward of the shoulders, tucking the toes under first. Bringing the arms to where they're very comfortable, so if that's down onto the elbows, somewhere you don't feel you're jamming into the lower back. You can lengthen out the legs to draw up through the front of the spine and the belly, before then dropping all the way down fully onto your lift. Space between the bolster your torso is supported by and where you rest your forehead. There's room to breathe through the nose. Checking your lift is as low as you need under your head to feel you have space in the base of the skull. Placing the arms to where the shoulders can fully drop, elbows as wide as the shoulder blades can drop out and away from each other. Knees and feet as wide as you can feel. Really soft across the lower back. And if you do feel as you settle you need to make the lift a little lower, really noticing that you bring down the outer body as tissues settle, readjusting the arms to where the shoulder blades can really drop out from each other. So you can feel as broad as you need to feel, really supported by every part of you that is held up by the ground. And that's where we have the opportunity to really meet a sense of freedom internally. Now we can notice that through the breath. We can notice that by observing where the breath can easily travel to. And even if there are parts of us where it seems there's a little interruption in feeling of the breath or its ease in flow, we still always simply find a way to breathe, find a way to adapt, a way to find our freedom with whatever we're holding into our body, our being at this time. So within that space, that field of attention, noticing any time it feels natural to take a slightly deeper inhalation and sigh out fully, particularly noticing how we can sigh out to help ourselves breathe into the back of the lungs, into the lower back in this position. Opening up our back, our protective dorsal aspect to the sky. Taking the last few breaths now before bringing your hands under your shoulders. Keep your head down as you just transition into a supported child pose here. The bolster or lift into your torso, bottom still being able to drop, shoulders comfortable. Bring your head to one side, chin tucked lightly into your throat. Just still breathe space into the base of the skull. And bring your forehead to center before turning your head to the other side. Breathing into the back body. Feeling the skin move with the breath there. And bringing the forehead to center. Drawing up through your belly. Then come up to sitting. Lifting your hips above your knees in any comfortable position. Settle the palms on to your thighs or legs, for that sense of grounding, acknowledgement of your legs and where the ground supports you underneath, to feel the freedom of breath into the spine as you bring the hands in towards your heart, allowing your head to drop to meet head, heart and hand. Namaste.